like to use the Osborne money to get some new textbooks this year. I was just perusing a few in the library. Lots of creationism. I'm thinking we should have some varying opinions.
I'm afraid the Osbornes won't be renewing their contribution this year.
They donate every year.
Not this year.
Well, did they say why?
They did.
Out with it, Welsh.
They believe you're making the school too political.
What?
They say that they believe you're using the school to push an agenda of your own.
And what agenda is that?
Well, you've abolished domestic services.
I don't think we need to teach our students how to do laundry.
And you've done away with mandatory chapel.
I haven't done away with it. I've just reduced it to once a week. Do you know how insane it is to force our students to go to chapel every day?
You fired half the faculty.
Retired them.
And hired all female professors to replace them.
We practice what we preach in my administration.
You changed equestrian studies to veterinarian studies.
You can't major in horses, Welsh.
And the marriage rates of your recent alumni have so plummeted that the Osbornes believe there's reason to believe you're somehow instilling in the students your own views of marriage.
My own views of marriage?
That's just what they said.
What do the Osbornes know about my own views of marriage?
That's just what they said.
Have I ever discussed marriage with the Osbornes in your memory, Welsh?
Not in my memory, Madam President.
Where are they getting this from?
I don't know, Madam President.
Surely you have an opinion, a guess, a theory, a hypothesis, something.
I'm not sure, Madam President, but it could be because you yourself are an unmarried woman.
Why would my not being married influence the students?
Well, they do look up to you a great deal.
Do they?
They do.
Well, what can I do about that? Does the board want me to get married just to influence my students?
No, of course not. No one has suggested that.
Do they want me to tell my students to get married?
They might.
They want me to tell my students to get married? That's ridiculous. I don't tell my students to do a damn thing but their homework.
You did tell them to reject inherited belief systems in your last address.
I didn't. I told them to examine them. Welsh, that's entirely different.
My mistake, Madam President.
Did the Osbornes mention that?
They didn't.
Is anyone, but you're mentioning it.
I am.
Is anyone else mentioning it?
They might be.
I see other donors.
Yes.
Why do I have to do this like a riddle every time, Welsh? Will you just tell me what they're saying?
They believe you might be trying to upend the concept of womanhood.
They miss the old school for why I say.
They do. They believe the institution was better as a seminary than it is a university. Women were leaving with less rebellious ideas.
Well, we'll just have to do without the Osbornes.
I think you're underestimating this concern. It's not just the Osbornes.
We'll lose a few donors. We'll gain a few new ones.
No,
These things balance themselves out.
I think you're underestimating this concern.
Which concern?
That you're making the school too political.
What is this complaint? I don't understand this complaint. We are a women's college. We are inherently political. Can you explain this to me?
It's a delicate time in history. The Great War.
Wilson says we're staying out of war.
Still, people are anxious. It's not a time to be making waves.
Suffrage?
People are worried you're going to take a stand.
Of course I'm going to take a stand.
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, go on.
It isn't the right moment.
There's no such thing as the right moment,
Oh,
Welsh.
oh.
That's a fantasy.
We're in a very tenuous position. You've made lots of changes to the school. You know, alumni say they don't recognize it. Donors say they don't agree with it. Fathers are calling saying they're angry with their daughters fighting over the holiday. People aren't used to these new ideas of women entering the workforce, refusing marriage proposals, leaving their family homes.
What am I supposed to do? Coddle their anxieties about a shifting world?
No, of course not. You are executing your vision. We can work with that. We can sell that. But it's not the right time or place to be championing outside causes.
How many donors are we talking about?
I couldn't say.
Try.
At least half.
Half?
Who have made their feelings known.
When were you going to bring this up with me?
I've made appointments with you all week, but you've canceled them all.
Well, how about this? Let's set a little precedent. If I'm about to lose half of our endowment, why don't you just walk right in? Don't make an appointment, don't call ahead, you don't even have to knock. If I'm about to run this place into the ground, why don't you just run in?